Hi everyone, welcome to the Regalia Coffee YouTube channel. My name is Paolo Malixi. If you are here for the June Fine Rarities Subscription, you're at the right place. Or if you just want to celebrate and learn more about the wonderful coffee that is this Buena Vista Panela Bacana, by all means, stay tuned and feel free to cup the coffees and taste them and just listen in. So this coffee was recently featured as coffee number 1 in the leaderboard game. If you're not familiar with the leaderboard game, it's a wonderful sort of cupping game that is put on by the really good folks at Leaderboard, and they had asked us to come in for this season and present a really nice coffee, and I thought of no better coffee than, of course, pink Bourbon, but in this particular case, natural pink Bourbon. This comes from a farm called Finca Buena Vista, in particular this lot nicknamed the Panela Bacana lot. We had originally purchased this coffee as a holiday coffee, and it was, at the time, it reminded us of sort of holiday spice, really sweet, fruity, but still very clean, and we thought of no better way to sort of celebrate the holidays than with this coffee. We liked it so much that we actually bought a little bit more, froze it, and vac sealed it to be used for later dates, right? And today I'll be walking through this coffee using 2 different brewing methods. The first one of which is, of course, our cupping. Here at the roastery, we tend to primarily cup as our way of essentially gauging if these coffees are hitting their marks. And today I'm using a new brewer, one that I sort of found in the classroom in our laboratory, and it's this Cafec Deep 27. First time using this brewer. It reminds me of the sort of the Chemexes of yore, those like skinnier Chemexes. These deep brewers tote very fast flow rate through the filters, so that really got me interested, and so I figured why not use it for today's cupping. So if you are taking the bag out of the freezer, again, the Fine Rarities comes in these 75-gram vac sealed bags. Feel free to open them up and then grind them at a grind setting that is suitable for your brewing operation. For the Cafec specifically, because of the depth of the brew bed and because of the limited amount of coffee I'm putting in, I opted for a slightly finer grind, which for percolation, it makes me, to be honest, a little bit uncomfortable, but the brew itself was fine. It wasn't too fast. In fact, it was around 3 minutes and 20 seconds, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. For the cupping, I actually ground just a little bit finer than I would for the Cafec. Generally speaking, when we cup, we grind at a slightly finer grind setting anyway. And I thought it'd be nice to compare these 2 brewing methods. Immersion's really wonderful, it's convenient, it allows us to extract very evenly with very little variance, right, across many different coffees. So if I'm cupping maybe 30 production roasts in one day, of course, doing 30 different Cafec drippers would be an enormously difficult task. It would take a long time, plus the extraction levels across all 30 brews would be very different. With cupping, I can put them all through our Lagom P64, which is what we use for our cupping brews, and then hit them with the same amount of brewing weight, beverage weight, and the result is extractions that are very, very, very even. So let's go ahead and taste these 2 coffees. So first I'm going to be tasting the Panela Bacana as a cupping brew. Let's see what this tastes like. We're about at 18 minutes post-brew. If that number sounds a little too long for you, then that's fine. You're welcome to taste it when it's a little bit hotter. Generally speaking, I like to taste my cupping bowls at 18 minutes, at 26 minutes, and 32 minutes. And that seems, if that seems a little too systematic, I understand. It sounds a little funny at first to a lot of people, but at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get really accurate data on how these coffees are performing, right? If I take this Panela Bacana and I send it to 3 random parts in the US, chances are all 3 random parts of the US, or the world frankly, will have different water systems, right? And so whenever we take this coffee and use different sets of water, we'll do the same thing across, right? And that's really important, just to give our cuppers a sense of systematic data retrieval, which is important, but also because we're cupping a lot of coffees, right? And at the end of the day, if you cup too much and just cup to enjoy, you'll definitely lose out on the sensitivity of by cupping too much and having too much caffeine, obviously. And so we're very, very careful about how much caffeine we're consuming at any given time. And this is despite us spitting, right? Because sometimes you might enjoy a really wonderful coffee and just get carried away. So, bottoms up. This is the cupping of the Panela Bacana. Right off the bat, it's very juicy. I can taste really lovely fruit, maybe like something tropical, but also something berried, right? I get sort of natural, I get fruit profiles that are reminiscent of dried fruit, but also full ripe orchard fruit and full ripe tropical fruit, right? And I think that with natural coffees, you'll tend to get sort of a wider range, less cohesiveness, but this is still really enjoyable. Second sip. To me, the body and the fruit quality are nicely intertwined. I get maybe like a velvety quality, not so much velvety like I get a lot of Bolivian coffees, but this one to me is one that really speaks deeply to the process and to the varietal itself. I don't really get much elegance that I usually get from pink bourbons. But again, it's still really, really enjoyable. I mean, it's this kind of coffee is what I refer to when I talk about effortless coffees. Coffees that just sing right off the bat, right? There's some coffees that take a while to open up. Like I find that a lot of Guatemalan coffees, for example, I won't start really enjoying them until minute 24 or so, because they're so subtle in their ways of being able to express themselves, right? Not all Guatemalan coffees, I'm just saying some Guatemalan coffees, but this one is just effortlessly delicious. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Why don't we taste the coffees out of the Cafec Deep 27. I'll put the recipe in the description of the video. This too is around, I would say, minute 16 or so. Oh, that's really nice. So I brewed both brews to 17:1, as expected. The Cafec is slightly more extracted. I'm not getting any astringency, which is really wonderful. I do find that it's very easy to get these hand-dripped brews to taste a little bit astringent, so I'm not getting any astringency despite the finer grind setting. It's noticeably cleaner, right? Despite it being a natural, it's noticeably cleaner. I get just ever so slightly more sweetness and more delicate qualities. Perhaps I'm missing out on more fruit expression. Instead of range, I'm getting just more of a cohesive fruit sort of profile, right? So if you like your coffees perhaps a little less, again, a little bit more cohesive with less range in general, I think that the Cafec dripper might be a good one for you. Let me taste that again. Instead of tropical fruit, I'm actually getting something that's slightly between orchard fruit and tropical fruit. It's a little bit more full, a little bit more ripe, right? Again, it's not as open as the cupping brew for some reason, but I enjoy it as well. Noticeably, I find that the Cafec dripper is slightly darker in color. You might not be able to see that versus the cupping, but I think that's to be expected. Both are really good, and the Cafec dripper is doing a great job at filtering out all of that undissolved sediment. So it's actually, I'm quite surprised. For a first time brew, it's actually very, very good. Let's go back to the cupping brew and see how that's cooled down. still very delicious, very effortless, right? If you all enjoy coffees like this, we're going to be getting a new coffee this summer that is going to be a lot like this, so stay tuned for that. It's coming from Ethiopia. It's going to be a big surprise, and it's going to be perhaps one of the best 3 coffees we have all year. Okay, so that's the Panela Bacana, Buena Vista, perhaps one of my favorite coffees of the year. Not just because it's a pink bourbon, because, well, it's just effortless, right? And in today's market, we have, lots of great roasters offering lots of great coffees, and a lot of the times we get these coffees and we bring them to our home setups, and we go through half the bag before dialing in this coffee before really getting to enjoy it, and that's difficult, and that's frustrating at times. But for coffees like this, maybe it's some combination of the green itself, the terroir, how we've roasted it, but it's just, again, a very effortlessly delicious coffee. So I hope you all enjoy it for time to come, as long as we have it. We have about 1 or 2 more roasts left, so get your bag while you can. Thank you very much.